The Habs get a massive win against the Calgary Flames as Juraj Slafkovsky scores less than 20 seconds in, Jake Allen stonewalls the Calgary offense, and Sean Monahan gets his revenge against his former team. You won't want to miss this game reaction edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's game reaction edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, alongside my co-host, Jesse Poirier. And before we get into the video, about 70% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. We have daily content here. If you like keeping up to date on all things Montreal Canadiens, this is your place for it. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. We got your back every single day. Jesse, what a game that was. I know we usually do a post-game reaction right after the game, but of course, when we're on the West Coast, it's not as feasible for us, so we hope you guys don't mind this sort of day-late edition of our game reaction. But boy, it was a fun one, Jesse. What were your thoughts on, right off the bat, what happened right off the opening face-off for Montreal?
Right? The revenge tour continues. First Doc getting his revenge in Calgary, and then so fitting that Monahan is now doing the same over in Calgary. So, it was so great, just to see him win that opening draw. But even before then, he's coming into the stadium in having a walking cast, like over his foot. Like he's coming into this game injured and just showing so much heart to win that opening draw and to bring it back. And then Guhle making a great play, but then Slafkovsky not being a pedestrian at all, taking full advantage of being on that second line right away, tipping up that pass from Guhle up to Monahan, having the speed to keep up with them, and then what do you know, getting a goal not even 20 seconds into the game. And I know yesterday, Josh, like we talked about this, why we think that Slafkovsky is such a good fit with Monahan, and one of the first things we said is because of the speed. And we saw that right away because of the speed and the IQ that Monahan plays with. It just complements Juraj so well. And we saw that right off the beginning. Monahan with speed, creating a rebound. Markstrom coming well out of his net to challenge. And then Slafkovsky making a nice move to pop home the empty netter at that point. So it was just amazing to see that chemistry just coming together so early. Monahan winning the draw against Kadri, the person that they traded for him to get room. So, there's so many storylines in this game today.
It was a storybook opening. Not too long ago we had that storybook ending with Kirby Dach finishing off the Blackhawks in the shootout, but today it was like you said, Monahan taking the face-off against Kadri, the guy they signed in Monahan's place, and right away Jacob Markstrom doing, I'm not sure what he was doing. Steve Dangle's going to have an aneurysm after watching that play, I'll tell you that right now. But, man, Slafkovsky, right place, right time, potted it. And you could tell Slafzilla was so excited. It was really in full effect tonight. That line, as I saw some Habs fans referring to it last night in some forums, they called it the nightmare line. And it really kind of is. In a post-game interview, Slafkovsky was saying how he loves playing with Monahan. He's wanted to do it all season, and how Monahan makes everyone around him better. And you really see that with Monahan. He's a great locker room guy, but a very smart, stable on-ice presence no matter what line he's on. And Slafkovsky and Anderson being these two physical guys who can really work their way to the front of the net to bang home some rebounds, it's really a perfect combination. And I thought this was Slafkovsky's best game this season. I thought he looked faster than any other game this season. Even in the second period, he got the puck and he was sort of in a foot race with Rasmus Andersson. And Rasmus Andersson is no slouch. He is a pretty fast skater as far as defensemen go, but Slafkovsky was beating him down the ice and it looked effortless. And then Slafkovsky got a great shot away, but he rang the outside of the post. If he had scored that, he would have gone nuts. The team would have gone nuts. But man, he looked like a dominant force out there tonight, Jesse. And not to transition too quickly away from Slafkovsky, but when I'm talking about dominant forces, we got to talk about Jake Allen, because that man kept us in the game tonight. Let me just show you guys the team stats here. Calgary outshot Montreal 46-19, and other than that, Montreal still blocked 22 Calgary shots. So if you add blocked shots and shots on net, that's 68 for Calgary, 25 for Montreal. Yes, we outdid him on the face-off dot, and we had another perfect penalty kill night, but man, it was not an easy night for Jake Allen last night, Jesse. And what do you think of Jake the Snake's performance? Because I thought this was exactly what he needed, a nice bounce back.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, I love the old school saves. He was kind of amazing, kind of lifting up one of his legs to kind of make those kick saves. Like, he was just rocking beautiful save after beautiful save like all night. And I know as Habs fans, it's normal, right? When we win a game, we're all super excited. And then when we lose a game, it's kind of the end of the world. And I think this game is a reminder to all of us as Habs fans, as players, coaches, everything involved, to not get caught up in the moment. Because, Jake Allen, even though not having the best numbers to start off the season, he did have a good start to the season. Then it kind of tapered off a little bit, but he's showing signs that maybe he's back on the upswing again. So it definitely shows not to overreact to just a couple sets of games. He still is very much a good goalie. He gave us exactly what we needed tonight. He was just absolutely phenomenal because, if it wasn't for him, with our top line not really clicking, we definitely wouldn't have won this game.
Yeah, Jake the Snake was... tonight he looked quicker than he has in a long time. Yeah, sorry, I might have spooked some people out there with that one. But he looked quick. He looked like he was in better position than a lot of other games. In his last few games, I thought he's been out of position more often than not when he's been giving up goals. But last night, really, even the goal that they scored, he wasn't really out of position. It was a great pass across the crease to a wide open Elias Lindholm, but man, he was just there. He was, what I liked is that he was challenging shooters. Like, if the puck was coming into the slot, he was coming a bit out of his net and really, it looked like he was more energetic, more excited to be in net. Maybe he was motivated by all the news, and maybe even us here are saying that Montembeault has been better and Montembeault should be playing more, whatever. But he came in and he proved us, all the haters, wrong tonight. Yeah, it's one game, but it was a monstrous game. This was a huge game from Jake Allen. And not only is it momentum for him, it's momentum for the team. A team that has lost Jake Allen's last few starts by wide margins to go into a game against Calgary, a very meaningful game for people on both sides of the ice, and to just have that dominant of a goalie performance behind you, especially like you said, when your first line is struggling, it's really, really important. And I wanted to touch a bit on that first line struggle tonight because I'm not sure what it is, Jesse, but in the last, 4 or 5 games, they really haven't been clicking that well. If we don't count last night, in Suzuki's previous 5 games, I believe it was 1 goal, 0 assists in 5 games and was a -5. Of course, he got an assist on the Caufield goal last night, but what have your thoughts been on the first line's performance recently? Do you think it's just one of those slumps for these young guys? Sometimes they'll hit that slump, or do you think there might be a deeper cause here?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you get, you kind of get hot for a little bit, you kind of get cold for a little bit. I think it's normal kind of cycles as part of the game, so I'm not worried about them at all. Like we said, like 9 times out of 10, for the most part, they're going to have some great games. But what I'm so excited about is just getting a proper second line together because, it's no secret. It's kind of the key to success for every team in the NHL is to get good secondary scoring because every team has good players, right? It says if you can get that secondary scoring to go along with it. I feel like we definitely have that with the Habs. They didn't have the best, but I know that they're going to bounce back. But I'm just so happy about getting a second line together and Slafkovsky just making such a strong case to stay there even once Gallagher does come back from injury, because I feel like that's what's really missing is that if we get those first 2 lines rolling, we're going to seriously be a dangerous team. And all we needed to do was get Monahan and Slafkovsky together.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. It's a line that we've wanted for ages, and I'm super glad to see it because if they can continue at that, that they played amazing last night. I think partway through the second period, I saw a graphic showing the chances for and chances against for the first line and the second line. It was something like the first line only had 2 chances while they had 9 chances against, and the second line had almost the inverse, like way more chances for than against. And Slafkovsky was really, really clicking well with that line. I wanted to transition a bit into the defense, because as we mentioned, Montreal got outshot very badly again, and our defense is showing some woes. Mike Matheson is really not doing what we wanted him to. He is playing fast. He's definitely an offensive defenseman who's playing well, but he's had a few hiccups here and there. I think he's still just getting used to Montreal's system. I'm not going to judge him too early yet, but some of the defenders were struggling a bit tonight, and I wanted to mention Jordan Harris too. I didn't think he had a particularly great game. He's had a rough stretch of games recently. He's been healthy scratched too, and you wonder if that's getting to him. Maybe it's hitting his confidence. I saw some people calling for him to be sent down to keep Jack-Eye up permanently as, a guy so they don't have to constantly rotate him in and out. What do you think about potentially sending one of our defensemen down? And I guess at this point, if we don't want to put someone on waivers, it has to be Harris or Jack-Eye. Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think we should just kind of keep rolling with what we got now?
I like to keep the rotation going. You know, it's young defenders. We're going to have some hiccups from time to time over the course of the season. You know, he's definitely had a little bit of a slump lately, Harris has, but over the course of the season, he's been playing great. So I'm definitely an advocate for probably making a move with Weidman, you know, something like that, just so we can keep our rotation of our young defense. Because we have to remember this is about development. You know, we're trying to develop our younger players. So, I mean, they've all shown that they deserve to play at the NHL level. So we really need to keep them up here because we're not, you know, Weidman's had his time in the NHL. We're trying to develop our younger guys. So I just want to see a little bit more rotation of that.
Yeah, and I'm on board with you too. However, I think it'll be tough once we get, because Gallagher's on IR, Drouin's on IR, and Hoffman's on IR. And if we don't make a move soon to clear up a roster spot, someone's going to get sent down. And right now, I think the leading candidate is probably Harris, but we'll see. Other than that, Caden Guhle. Late in the game, I don't know if many of you watched to the last whistle, which you may have because it was a very close game, but with about a minute left, Caden Guhle, I believe he blocked a shot or took a puck, maybe a hit from Michael Stone, and he went to the locker room with about a minute left in the game, and I just wanted to reassure some fans there. If you were wondering, he was pronounced okay after Thursday's win. Yeah, he left the contest in the third period after taking a hard shot from Michael Stone. So Eric Engels has said he is okay, so that's just some news to clear the air, make sure we know he's okay. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for this game reaction. I was very happy with the outcome of the game, but I will say, I mean, I don't know if you see, sometimes I see posts, it's called the deserve to win meter, and they do it for every NHL game, and statistically, who deserves to win? And I think at the end of this game, it was something like Calgary 80%, Montreal 20%. We got outshot badly. We blocked a lot more shots, but we were better on the draw, and guess what? We made the goals count. Jake Allen backed us to a win, and this was Markstrom's games to lose, and he did. Jesse, what are your sort of final closing thoughts on this performance and what it means for Montreal moving forward?
Yeah, well, these type of wins are just so important to get, but I'm just so happy to see Monahan getting more points than Nazem Kadri, the player that he was brought in to essentially replace him, right? We're seeing Monahan right now with 15 points on the season, 16 with where Kadri has 15, and for sure Kadri has some more goals. He's got 8 so far this year, but I mean, just as an overall effect on his team is they might have been kicking themselves tonight, right? It might not have taken very long, you know, the Flames GM and staff just kind of watching this because Monahan still has a lot to offer. They maybe did a little bit of a hasty decision. Maybe he might be better would have been better on their second line as a center. So I'm just so happy to see him. I love that we have players that play with such heart, that play through injury, that are so resilient. You look at Monahan and all the things he's been through, and he's hurt himself because he's playing when he's injured, but that's just in his nature, and he can't help but do that. But when you have players like that around that care about the team so much, you get results like we did last night, and that's a big old victory.
Big old victory. Monahan outscoring the guy that replaced him in Calgary. Like you said, who knows? Maybe if Calgary's desperate for a center come trade deadline time, Montreal holds him half retained and sends him back for another draft pick. But that's a bit far-fetched. Who knows? One thing I love about this team is, like you said, I mean, these guys play with a ton of heart. And what I really, really love is that these guys play like they have something to prove. This team coming into the season was pegged to be the bottom of the Atlantic Division, one of the worst teams in the NHL, maybe back-to-back top 5 picks. The roster didn't look good. The defense looked to be really bad. Some pundits said maybe the worst in the NHL. And we're coming out night in, night out, proving that we deserve to be there against some of the better teams in the NHL. Are we one of the best? No, but our players are really playing like they have something to prove. They're playing with heart. They're playing with effort under Coach Martin St. Louis. And, you know, that's the one thing that you want to see in a young team as they move toward cup contention in the next few years. But that'll do it for this game reaction edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel. We'd love if you did. The support's been amazing recently, and we're really glad you guys enjoy our daily content. I'm your host, Josh Goss, for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next video.